Liam Carter had seen many strange worlds during his service as a human engineer assigned to the Galactic Peace Exchange Program. But nothing compared to the planet Varanth. Its sky shimmered in silver and violet hues, and its vast capital city looked like it had been carved from living crystal. Towers stretched upward like frozen lightning. Bridges glowed softly under every footstep. Even the air tasted different, sweet, almost metallic. Liam was not a soldier or hero. He was just a technician who made sure power grids and transport rails worked correctly between different species. While many humans dreamed of glory among the stars, Liam preferred quiet routines, working with tools, and staying out of trouble. Trouble, however, rarely asked for permission. He had been scheduled to inspect a malfunctioning energy conduit near the Royal Plaza, the heart of the Aurelian Empire. The Aurelians were tall, elegant beings with skin that shimmered like glass when touched by sunlight. Their hair was made of fine threads that reflected light like waterfalls. They were strong, proud, and deeply traditional. They respected order, silence, and discipline. Liam, who often tripped over his own feet while holding a toolbox, was the complete opposite. Still, the Aurelians tolerated him. He was useful. He fixed things faster than their own engineers sometimes. They didn't laugh at him, but they didn't smile either. They simply acknowledged his existence. That day, the plaza was crowded. Stalls lined the sides where local artisans sold crystal sculptures, floating lanterns, and glowing fruit. Aurelian guards stood in formation, their spears humming with energy. People whispered excitedly, stepping aside from the center path. Someone important was coming. Liam didn't pay much attention. He had work to do. He set down his toolbox beside an energy relay and opened its panel. His scanner beeped. Internal voltage was unstable. Always the same, he muttered. Everyone builds fancy towers, but no one maintains the wiring. He reached for his screwdriver. Then, the sound of trumpets filled the air. The crowd knelt. Liam didn't. He had been told humans were not required to kneel. So he simply stood and watched curiously. A royal procession was approaching. At its front walked the Princess Alira, only daughter of Queen Saralith. Liam had heard rumors about her. Some said she was too kind for Aurelian royalty. Others whispered she was too bold, too curious, too interested in other species. Now he understood why people talked about her. She walked with grace, her long silver hair flowing behind her like liquid starlight. Her gown shimmered like moonlight on water. She didn't wear a crown, yet everyone bowed as if one rested on her head. But what caught Liam's attention was her eyes. Unlike most Aurelians, who kept their gaze firm and unemotional, her eyes wandered across the people, observing, not judging. She was truly looking at them, not above them for a moment. Those bright golden eyes met Liam's. She blinked in surprise. He awkwardly lifted his hand in. Greeting an Aurelian guard behind her frowned at Liam's casual gesture. Liam quickly lowered his hand and pretended to focus on his tools. The princess walked on. He thought the moment was over. He was wrong, eh? Loud blasts shook the plaza. People screamed. Smoke rose from the far side. A group of masked attackers burst through the crowd, holding strange pulse weapons. Their armor was dull gray, painted with red markings. They were not Aurelian soldiers. They were intruders. Liam froze, shock flooding his mind. The guards moved instantly, forming protective lines. But the attackers were fast, firing blasts that knocked several guards to the ground. Then Liam heard a faint cry. Princess Alira had been separated from her escort. She stumbled near a fallen merchant stall. The attackers saw her. Their leader pointed, "Take the Heiress." Liam didn't think. He dropped his tools and ran. His heart pounded. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have armor. He didn't even have a plan. All he knew was that someone needed help. 2 attackers aimed their weapons at Alira. Liam grabbed a metal pole from the ground and swung it like a bat, smashing one attacker's hand. The weapon flew out of their grip. The second attacker turned, firing at Liam. He ducked, barely avoiding the shot. The blast struck a crystal wall behind him, shattering it. The princess stared at him in disbelief. "Get up," He shouted, offering his hand. She hesitated for only a second before grabbing it. He pulled her behind an overturned stall. Another blast hit the wood, burning a hole. Liam's arm trembled. He wasn't a fighter. His entire body screamed to run away, but the princess was beside him, trying to steady her breath. "Why? Are you helping me?" she asked, her voice soft but confused. Liam didn't have time for proper words. "'Cause you're Heiress, they're trying to shoot you." He peeked over the stall. The attackers were regrouping. One of them shouted, "The human. Eliminate him." "Rude," Liam muttered. "I'm just visiting." He found a discarded energy shield lying beside a fallen guard. He grabbed it and held it up, just as another blast struck. It shook his arm, sending pain up to his shoulder. But the shield held. The princess looked at him strangely, almost like she was studying an unfamiliar creature. "Are all humans like you?" she asked. "Hopefully not," Liam grunted. "Most are smarter." A shadow loomed above them. One attacker jumped onto the stall, raising a blade. Liam reacted without thinking. He lifted the shield and rammed it into the attacker's legs. The attacker fell, crashing to the ground. Liam snatched the blade and swung it awkwardly, forcing another enemy back. He was not graceful. He was not trained, but he was stubborn. More guards finally arrived, charging toward the attackers. The intruders retreated, vanishing into the smoke. Liam collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily. His arm burned. A cut ran across his cheek. His uniform was torn, but the princess stood unharmed. She knelt beside him. "You are injured." "Just a scratch," he lied. She touched his arm gently. A warm glow spread from her fingertips, sealing the wound. Her healing ability was swift and gentle, nothing like human medicine. Liam blinked in surprise. "Thanks." She looked at him seriously. "You saved me. You risked your life without hesitation." "That is unheard of," he shrugged weakly. "You needed help. That's all." Before she could reply, more guards surrounded them, separating Liam from her. One guard pointed his spear at Liam. "Do not touch the heiress." "He is not a threat," Lyra said firmly. The guard hesitated but did not lower the spear. Another voice rose from the crowd, a noblewoman in fine robes. "It is ancient law," she said loudly. "A life debt has been formed." The crowd gasped. Liam blinked. "A what?" The noblewoman approached with wide eyes. "Any being who saves the life of royal blood is bound to the crown forever. It is our oldest tradition, bound forever." Liam's mouth went dry. "That's okay," he said quickly. "I accept payment in gift baskets." "Maybe a certificate?" The noblewoman did not smile. Princess Alira looked at him with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. The guard stepped back. Kneeling before Liam, "You are now claimed by the crown." Liam's face went blank. "Wait, claimed? As in property?" No one answered. Princess Alira stood tall. She placed her hand over her heart and spoke with clear voice. "I recognize the life debt. He shall not be harmed." Liam swallowed nervously. This was not what he expected when he left his room that morning. He only came to fix an energy conduit. Now, an entire empire was staring at him, and somewhere deep inside, he knew his life would never be the same again. His last clear memory was collapsing after the battle. A group of Aurelian medics had rushed him into a hovering stretcher, while guards kept repeating the same phrase, "Life debt protocol. Transport him to the royal citadel." Now he slowly opened his eyes and found himself inside a room glowing with soft blue light. The ceiling shimmered like flowing water, and the walls looked as though they were carved from one massive gemstone. Everything around him was clean, quiet, and frighteningly fancy. He sat up quickly. His jumpsuit had been replaced by a smooth silver robe. His tools were gone. His wrist communicator was missing. "Oh no," he whispered. "I've been upgraded." Before he could fully panic, the door slid open with a soft chime. A tall Aurelian woman stepped inside. Her skin was emerald-tinted crystal instead of the usual silver blue. She had sharp eyes and wore armor lined with golden patterns. "I am Captain Heiress, Royal Guard of Queen Serelith," she said formally. "You will follow me." Liam blinked. Good morning?" She did not blink back. "Come." Liam stood up. "Can I at least put on shoes?" "You will receive footwear suitable for your new status." "My new status," Liam repeated quietly. "Right." They walked through long crystal hallways where Aurelian servants and guards passed by silently. Some glanced at Liam with confusion. Others looked at him with disapproval. A few whispered things he couldn't understand. They didn't attack him, but they certainly weren't cheering for him either. A group of noble-looking Aurelians passed by. One of them scoffed. "Is that the human? The Queen allows this?" Captain Heiress turned sharply. Silence in the royal halls. The nobles hurried away. Liam scratched his head. "I think they like me." "That was not liking," Heiress replied flatly. "Yeah, I kind of guessed." Finally, they reached a massive golden door. 2 guards stood on either side. At Heiress's signal, they struck their spears against the floor. The door opened with a deep hum. Beyond it was the royal audience chamber. Tall pillars lined the walls like frozen waterfalls. The floor was polished so smooth that Liam saw his reflection. At the far end sat Queen Serelith herself. She was nothing like the princess, where Alira had eyes full of curiosity. The queen's gaze was calm and heavy, like standing before a silent storm. Her crystalline skin shimmered with deep violet hues, and her long gown flowed like molten glass. She wore no crown. She was the crown. Liam froze. He suddenly wished he had stayed in bed. Captain Heiress stepped forward. "Your Majesty, the human is present." Queen Serelith raised her hand slightly. "Leave us." Liam's eyes widened. "Leave us. As in, just me and—" Captain Heiress placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not embarrass yourself." She left. The doors closed behind him. Liam stood alone. Feeling like a child, about to be scolded by the universe's strictest parent, the Queen's voice finally broke the silence. "You are Liam, Carter of Terra, human, technician by profession, temporary resident of my world." Her voice was steady, neither warm nor cruel. Liam cleared his throat. "Yes, that's me. Usually, I fix power grids and coffee machines. Yesterday, I also accidentally became part of a national myth." The Queen did not laugh. She did not even blink. "You interfered in royal affairs," she continued. "You broke protocol. You engaged armed hostiles without authorization." Liam swallowed. You also saved the life of my only child." Liam went silent. That sentence held more weight than anything he had ever heard. Queen Serelith slowly stood and descended the steps of her throne. She approached him, each step echoing softly. Liam resisted the urge to step back. Her golden eyes examined him closely. "In Aurelian tradition," she said quietly, "when one life is saved by another, a life bond is formed. But when royalty is saved, the savior is no longer free." Liam shifted nervously. "So, she finished for him. "You belong to the crown now." "To me?" Liam's mouth opened slightly. I belong? As in, property?" "Yes." He stared helplessly. Do I get dental benefits at least?" This time, the Queen paused. Not in confusion, but in faint disbelief. No one had ever spoken to her like that. "You do not fear me," she observed. "Oh, I do," Liam replied quickly. "Very much. I'm just too confused to express it properly." A long silence followed. Then, unbelievably, Queen Serelith's lips curved slightly. Not a full smile, just the faintest sign of amusement. "You are strange, human." Liam let out a shaky breath. "I get that a lot." She turned and returned to her throne. "You will stay in the palace under royal protection," she declared. "You will be provided meals, clothing, and quarters. Captain Heiress will oversee your schedule." "My schedule?" Liam repeated. "Do I have a job?" "You are not a servant." nor a soldier. You are. A symbol. A symbol of what? Of what happens when tradition is challenged. Liam blinked. I was just trying to stop someone from getting hurt. And that, she said softly, is exactly why you are dangerous. Before Liam could respond, the side door opened. Princess Alira stepped inside. She wore a flowing gown of pale gold, her hair tied with white ribbons. Her eyes widened when she saw Liam. Mother, you summoned him? Yes, Queen Sorelith replied. The life bond has been acknowledged. Alira walked closer, her steps light. She gave Liam a small smile. You look less injured today. Royal medics are efficient, Liam said. They even fixed my old shoulder pain. Can I keep them? The princess giggled softly, a light sound that echoed in the grand chamber. Queen Sorelith watched them both. Daughter, we said, you will take responsibility for him. Lyra blinked. Responsibility? He is bound to our family. But you spoke for him first. Therefore, he will stay by your side. Liam nearly choked. Wait, stay by her side? Princess Alira seemed equally surprised. You mean, as a guard? No, the queen answered. As her companion. Liam nearly fainted. A companion? I don't know how to, you will learn, the queen said firmly. You will attend her. Walk with her. Speak with her. Protect her if needed. But above all, you will not disgrace her. Liam nodded quickly. I will try not to disgrace. Anything. Queen Sorelith lifted her hand. Go, both of you. Return for evening court. The nobles will expect to see the human who carries a royal bond. Lyra gently touched Liam's arm. This way, she whispered. He followed her out. Overwhelmed, a walk through the palace. The palace corridors were quieter now. Alira walked in front, her steps graceful. Liam walked beside her, trying not to stare at every glowing sculpture and floating lantern. You must be confused, Lyra said softly. That is an understatement, Liam replied. Yesterday I was fixing wires. Today I'm officially someone's companion. Still not sure what that means. Do I hold your umbrella or something? I do not use umbrellas. Well, then I'll learn something else. He smiled again. You were different from what I expected. What did you expect? A warrior. A politician. Someone who wanted power. Liam shook his head. I just didn't want to see you get hurt. Her steps slowed. You truly acted without expecting reward. Yes, she stopped completely and turned to face him. That is rare among my people. Liam scratched the back of his head. Well, among humans, it's also kind of rare. Most people like rewards, and you do not. Oh, I like rewards, Liam admitted. I just don't like the ones that come with infinite responsibility. Alira laughed again. You speak boldly for someone who stands before a queen. Panic through humor, Liam sighed. It's my special ability. They walked further until they reached a balcony overlooking the city. The sunlight made the crystal structures sparkle like stars. Alira leaned against the railing. Do you regret saving me? She asked quietly. Liam looked at her. Her expression was calm, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. No, he said simply. I don't regret it. Even if everything after it is confusing. In that moment, I did what I believed was right. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she bowed her head slightly. Then I promise. She said softly, I will do everything I can to make your new life. Fair, Liam blinked. That means a lot. Thank you. They stood in peaceful silence. Until clang. Something slammed onto the balcony behind them. Liam jumped. A small, box-shaped robot hovered near his feet. Its metallic body had dents and scratches. It beeped loudly. Oh, Alira exclaimed happily. That is Pip, my personal assistant drone. The robot beeped again, scanning Liam with a bright blue light. Friend Alira said, This is Liam. He will stay with us. Pip buzzed around Liam's head and circled him twice before landing on his shoulder. Liam froze. Hi. Pip vibrated like a purring cat. Alira laughed. He likes you. Well, that's one citizen who approves of me. Lyra's smile slowly faded. Not everyone does approve, she said seriously. Some nobles already complain. They will try to humiliate you, test you, make you feel unworthy. Liam nodded. Yeah, I felt that from the hallway stairs. Will you be able to handle it? Liam looked at the distant city again. I don't know, but I'll try. She looked relieved. Then we will face it together. For a moment, they stood, their human and alien princess, united not by duty or law, but by something simple, understanding. Little did Liam know by evening. That understanding would be tested before the entire royal court. Evening had fallen over the city of Varenth, painting the crystal towers in soft purples and golds. Liam Carter stood nervously outside the royal court chamber, the grandeur of the palace now pressing down on him. His robe felt heavier than before, as though it carried the weight of every expectation from both the queen and the entire Aurelian nobility. He was not a soldier. He was not a diplomat. He was a human engineer, accustomed to tools and machines, not politics and court ceremonies. And yet, here he was, bound to the crown by a life debt. Princess Heiress stood beside him, her hand brushing lightly against his arm in reassurance. Despite the opulence around them, she had not lost her warmth, her smile, or the quiet courage that had drawn Liam's admiration from the very first day he saw her. You're going to be fine, she whispered. Just stay calm, listen, and remember who you are. I am a human engineer, Liam muttered. Not a royal advisor, a hero. Just a guy who tripped into a life debt. Her soft laughter eased some of his tension. Tripped or not, she said, you saved my life. And that is why you are here. You have a place, whether anyone approves or not. Liam drew in a deep breath and stepped through the chamber doors. The room was vast, its ceilings impossibly high, and pillars of glowing crystal lined the sides. Nobles and officials from across the Aurelian Empire had gathered. Their golden eyes scrutinized him with a mixture of curiosity, suspicion, and barely concealed contempt. He swallowed hard. Every step made the polished floor echo under his feet. At the far end of the chamber, Queen Sorelith sat on her throne, her violet eyes like sharp gems cutting through the crowd. She observed Liam with an inscrutable expression. Behind him, Heiress stepped forward to stand beside her mother. A hush fell over the room. One of the elder nobles, Lord Kalen, stepped forward. His silver-blue skin shimmered as he moved. Your Majesty, he said, his voice formal but sharp. This human claims a position in your court. I must remind you that tradition forbids such things. Royal blood cannot be mingled with outsiders. To allow him hereby your word is to challenge the laws we have upheld for centuries. Liam's throat went dry. He had expected stares, maybe whispers. But a debate in the court was something entirely different. Queen Sorelith's voice rang out, calm yet powerful. Lord Kalen, I am aware of our laws. But this discussion is no longer hypothetical. The humans saved the life of my daughter. By ancient decree, he is bound by life debt. He shall remain. Any objection to this is irrelevant. Gasps and murmurs swept through the room. Some nobles shook their heads in disbelief. Others exchanged worried glances. Lord Kellen's eyes narrowed. Majesty, the life debt exists, yes, but it does not grant equality with the royal family. He is a human. His presence here may provoke dissent. Heiress stepped forward, her voice ringing clear across the chamber. Father and law are not, I speak in his favor. This human has done what no Aurelian dared. He risked his life without question. If honor means anything, he must be acknowledged. He is not my equal. He is my protector. And I choose him. Court went silent. Heiress's declaration had challenged not only tradition but the rigid hierarchy that had governed Varenth for generations. Liam felt his pulse quicken. She chose him. That alone was overwhelming, but to hear it in front of the court, his knees felt weak. Queen Sorelith remained seated, her gaze shifting from her daughter to Liam. She did not speak for several heartbeats, and each one felt like an eternity. Then she rose. her movement commanding attention from every corner of the chamber. "You have acted with courage and wisdom," she said, her voice steady and echoing. "You are a human, yes. You are not Aurelian. But the life debt cannot be ignored. And if my daughter declares him her protector, then I, as queen, recognize this bond." The crowd was astounded. Some whispered, others openly gasped. A few tried to protest, but the queen raised a hand. "Silence. The matter is decided." Liam blinked. His mind struggled to process the reality of the situation. He was acknowledged. By the queen. By the princess. By the entire court. Alira gave him a small, proud smile. "You have done well. From this day forward, you will walk beside me. Not as a servant, not as a guard, but as one who shares my trust, and I trust you." Liam swallowed, his voice barely audible. "I will do everything I can to deserve that trust." The queen nodded. "See that you do. But know, this being bound to royalty is not only honor. It is responsibility. You will learn, adapt, and be tested. Not because you are human, but because you have pledged your life in service to the heir of Varenth." He nodded. He had already understood that. The life debt wasn't a title or a gift. It was a commitment, one he intended to honor. Lord Kalen, still visibly displeased, bowed stiffly. "As you command, Majesty. But let it be known that many will watch him closely." "Let them watch," the queen replied, her voice unwavering. "If he falters, we will know. If he succeeds, we will honor him." Liam took a deep breath. The weight of the palace walls, the judgmental eyes, and centuries of tradition pressed on him, but a spark of determination grew in his chest. He was human. And humans, Liam reminded himself, were not known for backing down when something mattered. A new rollover the next several days. Liam's life changed in ways he could never have imagined. He was trained in Aurelian customs, educated in etiquette, and taught strategies for courtly diplomacy. He learned to bow properly, to address nobles correctly, and even to recognize subtle cues of body language in a species that seemed perfectly still most of the time. He stumbled frequently. Sometimes he bowed too low. Other times he failed to notice the subtle disapproval in a noble's glance. And yet, the princess never mocked him. She guided him with patience and quiet encouragement. "You're improving," she said one afternoon as they walked through the palace gardens. Crystal flowers shimmered in the sunlight, and streams of glowing water flowed along carefully carved channels. "Improving? I nearly insulted 3 ambassadors today." "Twice," Liam replied. "You survived, didn't you?" she said, smiling. "That counts for more than perfection." Liam felt a warmth at her words. She was not just kind, she was wise. And more importantly, she trusted him. Even when others did not, their days were filled with lessons, and their nights with strategy meetings. The palace was alive with intrigue. And Liam quickly realized that being bound by a life debt meant more than protection. It meant learning to navigate a world he barely understood. Testing courage, though. Real test came sooner than he expected. A rival faction, resentful of his presence, attempted to sabotage during a ceremonial feast. Hidden devices caused lights to flicker, and one of the lower-level nobles tried to spike the royal drink with a sedative. Liam noticed the subtle tremor in the server's hand and the faint scent of chemicals in the air. Acting on instinct, he grabbed the drink before it reached the princess. He spilled it onto the floor, causing a splash that startled the court. Gasps rang out. A few nobles whispered in horror. Princess Alira's eyes met his, wide and grateful. "You prevented disaster?" she whispered. Liam shrugged. "Just doing my job." The queen's gaze found him. For the first time since their first encounter, a faint nod of approval crossed her face. "You have demonstrated vigilance and quick thinking," she said quietly. "Let this be the first of many lessons in what it means to serve under the life debt." Trust and bond days turned into weeks. Liam and Alira spent more time together, learning about each other's worlds. Liam shared stories of Earth, of cities, machines, and human humor. Alira taught him about Aurelian history, diplomacy, and the subtle art of negotiation. Through shared experiences, their bond strengthened. Liam understood the princess not only as royalty, but as a person curious, brave, and compassionate. She understood him, seeing beyond the human awkwardness and valuing courage and heart. One evening, as the sun set and the sky painted itself in hues of gold and violet, Alira turned to Liam. "You are unlike anyone I've ever known," she said softly. "Your courage, your honesty, even your mistakes, they matter here. More than you know." Liam smiled, feeling both pride and humility. "I just try to do the right thing, but I didn't expect to feel at home here. Not with all this crystal and ceremony. You're at home," she said, "because you are human, and because you chose to act when it mattered most." The Queen's acknowledgement finally. The Queen called for a ceremony to formally recognize Liam's role. The court gathered, tension and curiosity filling the air. Liam stood beside Alira, wearing a ceremonial robe designed to reflect both human and Aurelian aesthetics. Queen Sorella stepped forward. Her voice was strong, carrying across the chamber. "Today," she began, "we recognize a bond that transcends species, tradition, and expectation. This human has acted with courage, honor, and loyalty. By ancient decree, he is bound by life debt. By my choice and my daughter's will. He shall serve not only as protector, but as companion, trusted advisor, and member of the royal household." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Some were hesitant, some impressed, and some clearly dismayed. Liam looked at Alira, and she gave him a small, reassuring nod. Queen Sorelis's final words resonated through the hall. "Let it be known across Varenth that courage and honor are not limited by blood or origin. Let all who witness this remember that humanity, even in one small form, can rise to meet the greatest of challenges. A new beginning."